Whoa. Hey.
Look
Hey,
at
what's up,
that.
Mr. Rob? What's up, everybody
Hey,
in the
buddy.
chat? Yes, we are live, Steve. What's up, Steve? If you guys are watching this on the replay, we are live every Monday. You can check us out at the bottom here, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. So if you are enjoying this on the replay, definitely join us for the live show because we love to get your kind of like input and interaction and all that kind of fun stuff. What's up, Rob? How you doing?
I'm good, man. First of all, I'm actually frozen solid. I don't know if you got hit, but we got hit with snow. It was rainy and it was crappy, and then all of a sudden it turned into like big, massive flakes, like frosted flake size flakes started pouring down. I was like, "What the hell is this shit?"
Big, chunky, like almost like cluster. I feel like there were clusters of snow.
Yeah,
and it just started falling down. My girls were like looking outside, going, "Whoa, what's going on?" We went out for like a walk earlier, and it was pretty chilly. And then they said it was going to rain and all that kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden snow starts coming down. So it's pretty crazy. I saw a lot of people posting on socials. If you're not from Canada or area, yeah, we gotten snow in April 18th. Are you surprised, Rob? I feel like I'm not really surprised.
No, I'm not surprised, but I'm just like I'm pissed because this has been we've had a really long winter with a lot of snow, and I have zero tolerance or patience. And actually, this past weekend, on Easter weekend, we put all of our stuff away, all of our winter stuff. You know, took all the boots downstairs, put all the jackets away, the hats, mitts. We did all of it, cleaned it all out, all the kid stuff, all done.
Yeah.
And this shit happens. So maybe it's our fault. I have no idea.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do? You're gonna take it out in case the rest of the week snows or whatever. You just might as well leave it.
We just left it. But I thankfully I still have my gloves, so I have my gloves because I have to take the dog for a walk, right? So it's freezing. Listen, I'm just complaining for complaining's sake, but all I'm gonna say is I'm tired of the snow, John. I need the heat. I need the sun. I need it to be so hot that like senior citizens are in danger of like losing their lives. That is my type of heat. I need that. So when my mom, who's in her 70s,
when the sun was out, it's hot.
But the sun, it was nothing. Anyways, yes, Lewis is right. I am frozen. So I'm a
Robsicle. Yeah. Sometimes I'm kind of like really picky about my car, and I'll actually take out my snow brush and all that kind of stuff and pack it away in the garage because I'm so picky that I don't want it rattling around or I don't want to see it in the summer. So good thing that's still in the car. I'm sure some people took off their winter tires already.
Yeah. No, I didn't
because it's April, but you know it drives safe. Take it easy, folks.
Yeah.
Let's start getting to it. What's up, guys? I see Lewis in the chat, Jonathan, Steve. I think I saw Fraser in there. So welcome everybody to the show. If you're in the live
Fraser said this is his neighbor's fault because he put on his summer tires yesterday. So
that's what you get.
Fraser,
yeah. You see someone out in their driveway wrenching on their car and putting on a different set of tires, then you know next day 100% it's going to snow. But let's talk about how was everybody's weekend. Rob, I think you got to see at least one movie, right? That I didn't get to see that I was really itching to go to. If you guys watched anything over this weekend, lots of great movies came out. That Nicolas Cage movie, I really want to see it, but I don't know when I'm going to be able to get the time in. So let us know in the comments if you watched anything new or checked out anything that maybe we talked about previously. Rob, what did you go see?
I actually went and saw Everything Everywhere All at Once on the weekend with Michelle Yeoh. I had actually tried to convince my wife to go, and I showed her the trailer, and she was like, hard out. Like, no.
I couldn't imagine showing my wife that trailer and thinking that she would come along.
And I asked my son, and he's like, no. I was like, all right, fine. So I went on my own. I went solo. Listen, I am very happy I saw it. It is a bananas crazy movie. It is visually stunning. It deals with like a multiverse, and all of the acting performances are just top notch. But I'm going to tell you, John, it's definitely worth a watch, but I don't know if I need to see it again. It's one of those movies that for me, I don't think it has a repeat viewing. And that's okay. Cause some movies are just, you watch it once and it's special. And like, it's not like it's not like the dreaded Wonder Woman 84, where it's like, I have zero interest in ever seeing this again. This is more of like, I saw it and I don't think I'll be able to recapture how I felt after the first viewing. And I don't really want to, I think I'm just happy with what I got. So I definitely
Would
recommend people seeing it, but
would you say it's a go to the theater and see it, or you think people will wait for this to pop up on streaming? Like,
I think you could totally wait to see it on streaming. Like, I don't
mhm.
think, as visually stunning as it is, it doesn't require you to spend like tons of cash going to the theater to see this movie, right? Unless you
Yeah.
love going to the theater. Seeing
Mhm.
it in the theater doesn't add to anything. I will say though that I used a free ticket that I had. I got a free popcorn. So the whole thing cost me $11. So for me, I
Yeah.
was like, it was worth it, right? And I was on my own. I had nobody
It
like,
was a cheap solo mission.
yes, it was the best date movie ever because it was just me.
Okay, so I've gotten that one out of the way, everything all at once. I think I suspected that as much. I feel like it would be just as easily enjoyed at home on digital. Um, because I feel like there's a bunch of options. So there was that Ambulance. I think it's still in theaters for now.
It is.
I don't know anyone that's seen it though, but I do kind of want to see it.
I haven't
It's
heard
Michael
anybody
Bay.
watch it.
It's big explosions. It's all that kind of stuff. The Nicolas Cage movie just opened this past week, so if anyone sees that, let us know. Fraser and Lewis said they saw Sonic 2 over the weekend.
Yeah, I saw
They
that
said
the weekend before
they
last.
said it was decent, which
Yeah.
I feel like that was Rob's review as well. It was decent. I did talk to Pat. Pat saw it and he loved it, but he's a big Sonic video game nerd. Yeah. Everyone's saying you have no interest in Ambulance. I don't know. I think
I do have interest in
surprised.
seeing it. I just don't know if I want to see it at the theater. I'm not sure.
Yeah. We'll see on that. Rob, I watched something this weekend, and I don't think you're ever going to be able to guess what it is.
Okay, wait,
I'll give you a couple clues.
Okay.
Or do you want to just go? Or do you have a blind guess?
No,
it's not a theater movie. I'll give you that clue.
It's not a theater movie. Is it one? No, just give me a couple hints.
Okay, so it's a new movie.
Okay.
It's just become available on digital. I don't know if that's enough hints. It's not in my wheelhouse.
Oh, it's not in your wheelhouse, and it just became available on digital. Is Pig?
Pig? No, is that the Nicolas Cage movie?
That's the one that came out a few months ago. But I'm just trying.
Okay, I'll give you another hint. It was on the Best Picture for Oscar nominations. It's one of those movies.
Coda? No, because that was always on streaming.
No,
I don't know.
It's your favorite flavor of pizza.
Did you watch Licorice Pizza?
I watched Licorice Pizza. How out of my character is that?
Wow. What made you jump on that?
Okay, so something happened. One of the people that we account with rented it. So you had 72-hour rental period. And I saw, it popped up there. And we just watched There Will Be Blood. Is Paul... Not Wes Anderson, Paul Thomas Anderson.
Right.
And I really liked it. So I watched the movie. What do you think, Rob? Did I like it or I disliked it?
I think you think it's okay.
Yeah, I actually quite liked it. It was pretty cool. I think I do recommend this movie. It was listed as a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
It takes place in 70s LA. So I feel like it's your jam, Rob.
Okay.
And it's got some really good performances in it. So I'm very surprised. I feel like I'm growing as a movie viewer or something like that.
I'm proud of you.
Because I was very surprised that I sat down and watched this whole thing.
That's awesome.
But Licorice Pizza. Do you know what the term Licorice Pizza means?
I don't, but my understand is that what it's called, Licorice Pizza? I feel like it's something different, isn't it? Is that it?
Is that what it's called, right?
Is it? I don't know. Is it?
It's like it's a play. I think vinyl records they would call licorice pizzas.
Okay. I think there was a place, Licorice Pizza, you're right. I think that there was my understanding is that there was a place in LA.
There's a bunch of things that it's possibly named after, but then it's like also based on a skit and stuff like that. I was still trying to figure out how exactly it factors into the theming of the movie.
Interesting.
But I went in knowing absolutely nothing about this movie, and I just watched it. So it's pretty cool. So if you guys haven't seen Licorice Pizza, I would say it's worth checking out, especially if you're looking for a rom-com style movie. So I look forward to hearing what Rob thinks when he finally watches it, because I'm pretty sure it was on your list. I don't know if nobody else dropped in with their. Someone mentioned Pinocchio with Pauly Shore. I don't think that's even out yet.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
And if it's out, it's probably going straight to video.
You know, I watched while you're going through the comments, I watched
Yeah.
I finished all of season 4 of Star Trek Discovery, which I know it's like, 13 episodes in a week. I crushed it. Congrats, Sarah. I crushed it. It's okay. I think Lewis is
Yeah.
a Star Trek fan. I think maybe Frasier is as well. It's listen, man, it's on Crave. When you have it, you might as well just go ahead and watch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But it's okay, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How about Tokyo Vice? Did you pop that on?
I
'Cause that's on the
haven't, but
main
I'm
one.
really intrigued by it. So
Yeah.
I've actually, there's a lot of shows
There's a
that I
lot
have to
to
catch up
watch
on.
now.
Yeah. Because there's the
Yeah, I
one
think
about like
Gord mentioned
WeWork,
Outer Range that dropped
Outer
on the
Range. Yeah.
15th. Yeah,
Yep.
I didn't get a chance to check that out. Sorry, what were you
Yeah.
gonna say, Rob?
There's the one that's We Crash, based on the WeWork a business model that's on. I think that's Apple TV Plus, and then on there's Uber. I think the one with Joseph Gordon-Levitt is on
Yeah.
Crave, I think. So I think it's called Busted or whatever. So there's that. Like, there's just a lot of television shows, and admittedly, man, I keep seeing a lot of Raised by Wolves, a lot of trailers and people talking about Raised by Wolves on HBO Crave. So I don't know. First world problems. Too many things to watch.
Yeah, I remember what I was recommended Raised by Wolves by several people when that dropped. But Tokyo Vice, I would definitely check it out. I'm 2 episodes in. It's a lot of people say it's basically The Wire, but in Tokyo. So it's The Wire, the TV show.
John,
Yeah,
it's like my
have you heard
top
it?
3 show of all
Have
time.
you ever heard of a little show called The Wire?
The Wire, which brings me actually, now that I think about it, next week, John, there's that new show that's starting from the guys from The Wire.
Oh,
on
I can't
Crave,
wait.
right?
What's
We
it called
own
again?
this city, or we built the, I don't know, something or other, right? So
We built this city.
We built the city. I think it's called
Jefferson Airplane or
Yeah.
whatever.
Starship. Jefferson Starship. Yeah. I could go through my mentions on but whatever. Yeah, so I'm
I think
actually
it's We
pretty
Own the City. It's
We-
the kind of Rampart scandal based stuff with your boy, the Punisher, right?
That's
John
right,
Bernthal?
John Barenthal. Then if you're a fan of the show The Wire, there's tons of actors from the creators.
A little show
So-
called The Wire. You may
Yeah,
or
a
may
little
not
show
have
called The
heard.
Wire. Yeah, I'm stoked for that. So yeah, we're gonna check. That's next week, the 25th.
Yeah. All right. So I think
All right.
we're all going to watch that. So you guys better watch that one. So thank you, everybody. Hopefully you had a good weekend and another weekend coming up. So don't worry. If you missed out on this weekend, there'll be another one right around the corner.
Not soon enough,
Rob.
John.
Yeah, I know. For you. All right. Let's talk.
Lewis.
What?
I don't think I've ever watched The Wire. Listen,
Hey,
man,
I don't blame them because it's hard to watch. If you didn't have HBO back in the day, which it was premium, right? Premium TV, not especially Canadians, not a lot of people had it. And then the DVD box sets were pretty expensive.
They were
when
$100
started.
a set.
Yeah, they were expensive. I think they
Yeah.
did go on sale. The digital versions went on sale like a couple of years ago. I remember around the time the pandemic first started, I saw them for like $10-20. But yeah, now you have to have Crave, I guess, to watch it. So if it goes on to Netflix, I think a ton of people are going to be like, "Oh wow, look at this Wire show."
Oh my god. Listen, we got to do a whole watch on The Wire, and we won't have to.
It's daunting though, Rob. As good as the show is, it's daunting. There's several seasons for you to chew through.
There's 5 seasons.
Yeah. And the
very
face
quickly
is-
though, here's the thing: is that when you watch it, so I was bedridden many years ago. I had kidney stones, and so I ended up buying the first season.
Kidney
to watch
stones.
Yeah, it was horrible. And I blew through the first season on DVD, and it was like $100 at HMV, right? Anyways, when you watch season 1, you're like, whoa, this is pretty crazy. Then you watch season 2, you're like, what the hell's going on with season 2? I don't understand. Then you like, do I watch season 3? Because season 2 is so bizarre. And then you start, once you're finished all 5 seasons, you actually realize how important season 2 was. It has a whole new perspective. And speaking of perspectives, the whole entire story, every season is told from a different perspective, and with respect to drugs and cops in Baltimore. So season 1 is between the cops and the drug dealers. Season 2 is how do the drugs get into Baltimore. Season 3 is what happens with the power struggle between the gangs who distribute the drugs. Season 4 is about how does the city and politicians handle this. And season 5 is told from the perspective of how does the media report what is happening and hold the police accountable. So It is a phenomenal television show. I could sit here all out for hours and hours and hours praising it. But if you haven't had an opportunity to see it, I definitely suggest you go. If you have Crave, just watch it. You will be immensely rewarded.
Yeah, it holds up well. I've watched some of it recently, started to get back into it. Although I feel like I can only watch one episode at a time because there's a lot going on, and you really want to kind of take it all in. But yeah, so shout outs to The Wire. Maybe we'll have to do something. But I think we all must watch this upcoming show. It's not We Are the People. It's not We Built This City.
We own rock and roll. I don't know.
We own the city.
I think that's what it's called, isn't it? I don't know.
We own the city. Anyways, well, you figure it out. I'm going to drop everybody with the Heroes World update. So again, thank you everybody for joining us for the Sidekick Show. We're going to talk a little bit about what's new at the shop Heroes World. Rob's going to hit us with the news, and then we're going to jump to our movie, which is Kill Bill 1 and 2. So stay tuned for that. So Heroes World update, folks. So if you're not following us on the Instagram and Facebook, we do post the new comic listings every Monday. This week, we will have the brand new Nightwing number 91 featuring Rob's favorite guy, the Flash there. And everybody's favorite prodigal son, Nightwing. So Nightwing book is phenomenal right now. So if you're not reading it, the volume 1 is available in hardcover. Really, really good book. And we got a host of other titles coming out this week as well. So check that out. I'm going to show you a couple pre-orders of things coming up, Rob. So some things that we probably saw coming. So this is the Moon Knight Hot Toys. Of course, the TV show is just going on right now. And of course, they've got to release the Hot Toys Moon Knight in, I don't know what we're going to call this, the regular Mark Spector costume or what. I wonder if they're going to do a Mr. Knight costume later, but it looks pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Especially when these toys or these statues and figures, once you start adding lighting and things like that, that looks like a cape with a wire in it. Yep. Things can look pretty incredible. So if you're not into toy photography, it's a thing. And you can clean off or dust off your equipment if it's kind of been sitting around, and you can have a lot of fun with that. So look at all this cool stuff it comes with. I don't think any of this is spoilery because you've seen the trailers for it, but it's got a cool base there. So Moon Knight Hot Toys, of course, we saw it coming. I'm going to mention these. Rob, were you a G.I. Joe guy?
I was, man. The amount of toys I got rid of, or my mom threw out when I was out of my G.I. Joe phase is sad because I would have loved to have had them now. But yeah, man.
I've heard the story many a time. Yes.
Yeah.
But, unfortunately, as a parent myself, I definitely can see myself going, what the hell with all these toys, and just go.
Yeah.
So I don't blame parents for back in the day tossing your toys, especially if you've moved out and you just left them behind. They probably wanted your room for, an extra workout room or whatever. But this is our boy Firefly, the Saboteur. 3-0 is doing these 1/6 scales. So G.I. Joe has conquered many scales. They've got the little 3-inch guys from back in the day, and then they've got the 12-inch guys with the kung fu grip, and then they kind of carried it on to New Sideshow, picked it up. So these guys are in that larger scale, but they're doing a really good job of making like kind of these modern redesigns of their characters. So this is Firefly. This is Roadblock. So both of these are pre-orders coming up. They're only about $169 USD. So they're fairly affordable. A little bit more than your 3-inch GI Joes, but they're pretty cool.
Or as Cord would say, 3 inches.
Yeah. Why? So we do have Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow in stock right now. If you're interested in checking these out,
that Snake Eyes looks sick, man.
Yeah. The detail on these is amazing. We also do have the later version of Storm Shadow, which has the hood and the crossbow and everything like that. Very cool figure. And then I'm going to shout out a couple stuff that we just got in stock at the store this past week. And this is the Batman, those 12-inch statues. I think I showed them off a couple episodes ago. Yeah. One was done in a red tone. Now we have the regular colored version of the Batman and a matching Riddler if you want to have Batman and Riddler on your display stand. And these are very affordable. These are only $50 Canadian each for a big vinyl or plastic statue. So they're pretty cool. We also did get this Miles Morales Diamond Select Kotobuka. I don't know how many terms they're going to throw onto it, but it's basically a statue figure. He's really cool, and he's only around the $50 mark. So if you're looking for kind of affordable,
and you did an unboxing of this.
Yeah, I did a quick unboxing for it.
Yeah, and it looks really cool. It was good. I watched it.
Yeah. So thank you. We did get this one. If you guys are into video games, Nier Automata, I think it's called. These are Play Arts Kai action figures. They're about 1/10 or 1/8 scale, but really cool stuff if you're into these types of video games. These are more expensive though because these are import figures, so they have kind of a niche market. This is around $200 for this type of thing. The chat's getting out of control. If you guys aren't joining us for the live chat, yeah, join us for live chat because it's a lot of fun, folks. Sorry, I showed off one of Rob's news bits. So thanks for sticking with us, folks. Those are some new stuff at Heroes World. The new Magic set pre-releases also this week. New Capernia. So check that out. I'll be posting a lot of stuff on that if you want to see mobsters and gangsters in the Magic the Gathering universe. It's going to be a fun time. So Rob, let's take it away with the news.
Hey, yeah, okay, thanks everybody for joining. Before we actually get to the news, just a reminder, if you haven't had an opportunity to check out the Heroes World podcast this past week, John, myself, and Stu, we did a review of Moon Knight episode 3. So you definitely want to check that out and get into the comments. Let us know what your thoughts are of Moon Knight, and thanks again to everybody who are joining us live Monday at 8:15. As John said, we're hitting the news. Hey, John.
Hey,
you know how I hate starting off the news with sadness and bad news? Well, unfortunately, buddy, I got to do it again today. Last Tuesday, we lost Gilbert Godfrey, who passed away at the age of 67 due to a long battle with an undisclosed illness. We, of course, here at the Heroes World Sidekick Show, remember him for his hilarious role in Beverly Hills Cop 2, which we reviewed, and it was one of John's favorite parts. Actually, it was one of our favorite parts of the entire movie of Beverly Hills Cop 2. Especially his improvisation of picking up the phone and calling his wife a bitch.
What could I be holding in this hand that would make you forget about? Just like, I don't know what I'm holding.
My wife, and then he picks up the phone. And it was hilarious, and he wasn't even talking to her. So
you should do that when you go back to the office, Rob. Definitely do that when someone comes in.
As well, we know him from a whole bunch of other. He did a lot of voiceover work, including Mr. Mxyzptlk in Superman the Animated Series, and countless other movies and shows. He was also Knick Knack John in the Superboy TV series from the 80s. So.
He was like all over the place. He played a voice of one of the Krang aliens in the TMNT Nickelodeon cartoon. And he was the bird from Aladdin, right?
He was Iago. Yeah, he was. So you know what, and honestly, you know, if anybody needs a good dose of Gilbert Godfrey, just check out Gilbert Godfrey and the Aristocrats. Sorry, Google that. Make sure your kids aren't around. And
is it the joke or the?
It is the joke. It's a 17-minute joke on the Aristocrats. Okay, so Gilbert, we will miss you, good sir. Hey John, I remember a couple weeks ago we talked about that rumor, a rumor about Sharon Stone was going to be in the upcoming Blue Beetle movie. Well, now it looks like that's not going to be the case, as living legend Susan Sarandon has signed on to star in the movie, playing the role of Victoria Cord. Who is the movie's villain and apparently is a character written exclusively for this movie. So, John,
interesting.
It's an interesting pivot from Sharon Stone to Susan Sarandon, but does this hype up your anticipation of Blue Beetle? I mean, this is your dude.
Is this a CW show?
No, it's an HBO.
Okay.
No, it was supposed to be on HBO Max, and it's now going to be going to theaters. So,
okay. Yeah. So I did read this new run. I forgot. I want to say his name is Robbie. I don't remember what the new Blue Beetle's name was, but I've read the entire first kind of year of that arc, which was really good. This character's name was something Cord, you said, right?
Yeah,
the original
Victoria.
Blue Beetle,
I think her name is Victoria Cord.
Yeah, and the original Blue Beetle was Ted Cord.
It was correct.
So I'm wondering what they've created this role for, but I look forward to them adding these newer, younger heroes to the mix. So. Yeah,
was it Robbie Reyes? Is that the new Blue Beetle? Is that what his name was? Robbie Reyes?
I say it was. Or is that Ghost Rider? I think that's Ghost Rider.
Oh, it could be Ghost Rider. Yeah, you're probably right. Who the hell knows? You're probably right. Robbie Reyes is Ghost Rider.
Jamie Reyes. Sorry. Close.
Oh.
We kind of took both pieces of it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So that's cool. All right. Well, hey, speaking of casting, hey, John, remember how you said that you and your brother would always cosplay as the Wonder Twins? But Chris was always Zan, and you dressed up as a bucket of water.
Regular water, toilet water, sink water, bottled water. There's so many options of water, folks.
Well, John, you will be happy to know that a Wonder Twins movie is coming to HBO Max, starring your Riverdale boy, KJ Apa Azan, and Isabella May, most recently seen in the 1883 TV series as Jaina. John, are you excited for a Wonder Twins movie, or is this just a ridiculous idea?
They keep doing this. They added these characters to Teen Titans Go. I think DC took a run at making a semi-serious book using these characters a while back, and as a retailer, it didn't sell at all. Unfortunately, I think it did have a stellar team on it and good art, and it probably was a decent read. But for some reason, people just didn't like the idea of the Wonder Twins. But you know what? Maybe now is the time to strike for TV,
God.
and depending on the theming, maybe you think they're going to go serious or they're going to go comedic?
Yeah, I couldn't give a shit. Listen.
You should check out DC versus Vampires, which has some dark things happen to these types of characters.
I'm, man, I don't know. We've talked about this, right? It feels like there's more quantity over quality of things. So who the hell knows why they're doing it? I mean, Wonder Twins were barely enjoyable when they were first introduced in the 70s Super Friends cartoon, right? Why we needed this thing will they have Bippo the Space Monkey as well? Like will it ever end? I don't know.
Sorry, I'm pressing too many buttons here.
I have no idea. So at any rate, whatever. Wonder Twins coming soon to a screen near you, John.
Wonder Twins activate.
Yeah, form of bullshit. Hey, John. Yeah, right. Hey, John, you know how I just asked if the Wonder Twins was a ridiculous idea? Well, do you want to hear an even more ridiculous idea? So the buyout of Warner Brothers by the Discovery Channel was completed last week, and the new head of Warner Discovery, David Zaslav, has come out and made it clear that an overall reboot of DC and its IP needs to be a top priority, realigning DC vertically so that the DC brand works in conjunction with each other, placing a greater emphasis on the movies or TV shows, video games, and somewhere down the line, John, I think comics. I'm not too sure.
Zaslav probably forgot. You're not going to touch the comics, probably.
Zaslav has said that WB has essentially squandered Superman, and he needs to have a focus placed back on him and on the big screen, and that they do need a Kevin Feige-like person to run the DC division as a whole. John, this is the millionth time we've heard this, John.
I feel like this is a rehash. Yeah, I feel.
Do you have faith this is actually going to happen this time?
I don't know. I hope some people with some brains in their heads kind of get to this. And I feel like we've had this whole rehash before. They're going to align it. They're going to make it like the Marvel thing. Why? You've got 2 or 3 hits in a row now, right? Suicide Squad, the Batman. I don't know if there was anything else in between it.
Joker. Joker was a big
TV show. Joker. You've got a bunch of hits, and Snyder Cut, as much as they want to avoid this, it did well. I would say I haven't seen all the numbers behind it. It's trending every goddamn week on Twitter, so they've got a bunch of stuff to build off of. So why are they going to continue to try and copy Marvel? I feel like that's what got them in trouble in the first place when they started to lump all these movies together and just copy them. They should just, I think they've got with the Batman. Okay, so Batman is going to come up later on this. In this episode, they've kind of started this thing of different characters, different like almost like a similar to the comic book concept, right, Rob? Different storylines take place at different times because the different creative team is on it.
Yep.
So they should do that. They should just go and, hey, you know what? Every time you have a different director for a different style, they make their style of movie, but it just happens to have DC characters. But yeah, interesting. Rob, are you excited?
Listen, I'm old enough to remember, John, when they said Zack Snyder was brought in to be the Kevin Feige shepherd of the DC universe, and that went boobs up. And then I'm old enough to remember when they brought in Jeff Johns and said he's going to be the guy that's going to oversee Warner and DC and movies, and he got fired. So, listen, here's the thing. DC does not do well copying what Marvel has done. They have had 15 years to do what they've done, and they've done it quite well. They've had some bumps along the way, but it's to be expected. DC excels at, I think, targeting an older audience. and their shit is more darker. Even in the comics, it's way more darker and adult themed than their counterpart at Marvel. So
Well, they
I
have
think,
multiple options for people. So I don't get
right.
why they can't look at that branding, DC Black Label, Vertigo, all these
Yep.
successful things that they've done, and just go, hey, let's do that.
Yeah,
But
you can
with
have a world where Shazam exists with Aquaman and with the Flash, but then when you can have a darker Batman and everything else. So I think they just need to, I think it would be smart for them to realign everything and to put a greater focus on the current IP, because I feel like it's a scattershot right now. Like they don't really know. They're just, Wonder Twins, we'll give it to you. Like I think they need to have a greater
let's
focus.
go.
Listen, your biggest character is in a box on the shelf somewhere. Bring Superman back out. I know we got the TV show, guys. I'm a big fan of the show, but we need to get him back on the big screen, and there's zero emphasis on doing that. So let's see how things play out. Hey, John, a couple of trailers dropped last week that got the web a buzzing. First, it was a trailer for season 4, John, of Stranger Things, which sees the cast returning and includes this ugly piece of shit as the new bad guy.
Well, hold on, you almost pointed to me there.
I know. This guy right here. This guy it looks like Swamp Thing from the 1970 movie. So I don't know if you're a Stranger Things guy, but there you go. Also, John, we received a trailer for the return of The Kids in the Hall with a new season starting May the 13th. I am super stoked for this, John. I watched this teaser.
Are you?
Oh man, I love Kids in the Hall. I love the fact that man who's going to crush your head, he's now threatening. He's threatening to crush the CN Tower, and he's like, "I will crush it. I will crush that tower." I am super excited to see these.
That is like the only sketch that I remember from Kids in the Hall, but I feel like it was just I was a little too young to kind of, or when I discovered it, it just wasn't my thing. I wasn't quite ready for it. So
you know what, John, and it was a little bit outside. I remember my babysitter at the time. She was a huge fan of Kids in the Hall, and I was probably about 3 years outside of understanding it, and I caught up late in the game. But I've watched all those episodes. They're all on Prime, and I've been meaning to go back and watch them again. So Kids in the Hall returning on May the 13th. And speaking of trailers, John, we finally got a teaser for Thor, Love and Thunder earlier today. We saw the return of Guardians of the Galaxy Korg, Valkyrie, and Natalie Portman's Jane Foster as Thor. I guess, is it the Goddess of Thunder? Do you have that photo there? Look at that high-res photo of Natalie Portman as Thor. So, John, did this trailer make you feel warm and fuzzy in your pants, bud?
I didn't watch the trailer, but this picture looks really good.
Wait, you didn't? Oh, see, now it's so funny. We were going to do. I'm sure we should have probably done a trailer reaction, but nobody decided to call me, so that was fine.
No one messaged me either. I saw you guys posted, but I was like, oh. I thought maybe it was really short or something like that, but yeah.
Yeah, so listen, man, I am actually pretty excited for this trailer. It has, once again, Taika Waititi is back. There's some funny moments in the trailer. It's very short. It's a teaser. It's maybe a minute and 45 seconds, if that, but I am super stoked for it. And there are some images, John, from the trailer that are literally taken right out of the Jason Aaron Thor comic. People have been posting comic and movie, and it is like stunningly accurate. So I'm super stoked for that. So that, John, is the news.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Rob. That was a great news rundown. Lots of stuff went down. Can I throw a couple clickbait things at you?
Sure.
And see if I just wanted to see your reaction to these clickbait.
Okay.
I knew Rob was going to do the real news, so I figured I'd grab the clickbait news and see what his reactions is. So feel free in the comments, folks, to react to these headlines. The Flash may end sooner than expected. I think the rumor was that they may abbreviate the 9th season, which you are trogging through, I believe.
I'm like 2 episodes behind. My son and I are just like, oh, we have to watch the show. Yeah. Jesse L. Martin, who plays Joe West, he's already signed on for another pilot at NBC for next season. My understanding, though, is that they were only going to commit the 9th season to like 13 episodes or 12 episodes anyways. So fine, whatever. I'll be honest with you, John, I think they were keeping it around to coincide with the Flash movie coming out in November. But because
they were trying to hold up, but all these all these delays. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're boobs up on that one. So whatever, man.
Yeah, I know a
Michelle's
handful.
right. Yeah.
I know a handful of people who are like you and are just watching it just to finish it. So I
Yeah.
feel like if this rumor or clickbait is true, then you're like, all right, thank God I can stop watching this because it'll be over. It won't exist for me to even have the option.
That's
all right, next piece of clickbait news, Rob. Fast and the Furious producer thinks it might be time for the series to go back where it started. So these
You mean
movies
back
make
to
money.
the roads as opposed to the? Like,
yeah, but
where else
I guess
do you go after space, John?
yeah, Lewis gave me the heads up on this one, and basically the subtitle for IGN reported this was "Let's steal some DVD players." So I don't know if they're going back to Fast and the Furious 1 style. I don't know who this producer is, but is this franchise not a juggernaut and making tons of money? So why would they think that,
dude?
now's the time to go back?
If that is a hint and it is a time travel movie, that they
oh man, I think you're giving them more credit. That's too clever. I think that's
and
too
they
clever.
go back and they see the events of, and you see Jesse and they go back to the tuna salad sandwich at the shop and you've got a DeLorean. They have a DeLorean and they've gone back in time and holy shit. And that's what he means by that.
Yeah, I would assume after all this stuff wraps, then they go back to a basics of street racing.
Like redo it? Maybe is street racing still a thing, John?
It is, yeah. Anywhere you can stop at a light and you think your car's faster than the other person, it's still going to happen. But they might want to have to tone it down or something like that. So, okay, very last one, and then we're going to get on to Kill Bill, folks. So trending on Twitter was more Zack Snyder cut stuff. So there's rumor that there was a Lois Lane and Batman romance planned, and it got scrapped, and people like lost their minds. What are your thoughts on this? Would you have been okay with Lois Lane and Batman kind of starring in a rom-com?
No, whatever, man. Like, listen, every movie has a lot of ideas that are put on the table and then are quickly discarded. So, was it a thing? I'm sure it was. But whatever, man. I mean, think about it. Clark had only been dead for like a month.
Yeah.
And Bruce is gonna
he's gonna swoop in there.
Superman's gone, so
what's that song? Jesse's Girl or whatever. I wish I had Clark Kent's girl.
yeah. And, this is really awkward. I gotta bring your boy back from the dead, but we're still good, right? Like we still see each other. Yeah, whatever, man.
All right, so. Anyways, I just thought I'd throw a couple of those at you, Rob, just for funsies. I want to see your reaction. So let's get to the movie because I can see a bunch of welcome Jacob. He's talking about some more things that he said. Tarantino's going to make 2 more movies, and then that's it. I think he's only got 1 more left, right? I think he said he was going to make 10. And there's
in theory, he's actually made 10, but yeah, I think you're right. I think he's got 1 more in the can. Jacob says he's making 2 movies and will be over. He wants to write books and plays. Actually, he has a book.
Yeah, once upon a time in Hollywood, he's released that book. If you need a copy, check it out. We got the link in the description for the audiobook and the paper novel. Have you ever explored it, Rob? Because it's supposed to be quite different than the actual movie.
Yeah, and he actually has written like a bunch of other. I heard him on a podcast talking about it, and he did a whole bunch of other things to tie into the book. So it's always intriguing, but I've never searched it.
Yeah. So the book is supposed to be longer in length of the story that it covers. I think the end of the movie is actually not even the end of the book. You find out if Cliff killed his wife and all this kind of other cool stuff in that we didn't find out in the movie. So if you haven't checked that out, and we're going to talk more about that afterwards, but let's talk about our movies or movie. I don't know if you call it movies or movie. What do you think, Rob?
Well, they were released individually, so they are movies, but we do know it should have been 1. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you had an opportunity to check out Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, which was streaming on Amazon Prime in Canada. Or you could get both of them for, I think it was like $10 on Amazon. So we'll do a rundown, as we always do, of our movies, but I've kind of combined them. So Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 was initially conceived, John, as 1 movie, but was split into 2 when Harvey Weinstein, we shouldn't be bringing up him. He kind of pressured Quentin and said, listen, this has got to be 2 movies. And therefore, the movies were known as the fourth and fifth Quentin Tarantino movies. Part 1 released October the 10th, 2003, and had a budget of $30 million, but made bank with $181 million at the box office. John, Part 2 released 6 months later on April the 16th of 2004. Also had a $30 million budget, but brought in about $30 million less at about $152.2 million. Movie stars Uma Thurman, Lucy Liu, Michael Madsen, who is a Tarantino staple, Vivica A. Fox, Daryl Hannah, David Carradine, and Sonny Chiba. The music for both movies, John, was done by Wu-Tang founder The RZA. Now, the idea for the movie was born out of a conversation that Tarantino and Uma Thurman had during the filming of Pulp Fiction, which is a movie that you had just watched about a month and a half ago or so. Volume 1, as John had on the screen before, has a critic's score on Rotten Tomatoes of 84% and an audience score of 81%. However, Volume 2 matches 84% with a critic score, but a higher audience score of 89%. These movies have been deemed a love letter, John, to the martial arts genre. So, John, after seeing Kill Bill as a whole, has this made you more of a fan of Quentin Tarantino? And as a fan of old school martial arts movies, do you find this give you the warm and fuzzies in your pants?
The warm and fuzzy. So I can confirm that I actually never saw Kill Bill 2. So this is my first time watching Kill Bill 2. I think I've seen clips from it and had things told to me about it, but I've never watched it in its entirety. And that's just, that's what happens when you let people kind of make opinions for you, which is fine sometimes. You want to hear other people's opinions. But for some reason, when this movie originally came out, the reception from my circle of friends was that it was no good. So I never went to see it. So I did quite enjoy the first one. Rob talks about its kind of homage to old school. I don't know if you would call them chopsaki or like old school martial arts movies of like just Shaw Brothers, I think, was one of the major producers of that. 36 Chambers, all the old Jackie Chan stuff, probably Drunken Master. That was not my jam when I was growing up. I actually like the modernization of action movies. So when Jet Li and those guys started kind of Jackie Chan and those guys started kind of bringing it more into the, either they were cops or they were bodyguards or
like police force and all that.
Yeah. Stuff that like the almost the westernization use of martial arts incorporated into a regular action movie. So it was no longer martial arts. So some of the tributes maybe didn't kind of like sink in for me. But overall, the first movie upon rewatch I thought it was pretty good. It might not be my favorite Tarantino movie, but the structure, the storytelling, it's almost like an anime comic book come to life. And now let's tack on the second movie so I can talk to Rob more about it, because whatever I think is like out there, because I've only seen it once. So the second movie, going in thinking, hey, everybody didn't like this at first. I thought it was a really good ending. I guess it maybe because it doesn't have that crazy 88 style action
bloodbath action scene at the end.
The first one had, maybe that's what everybody wanted. Everyone was probably like, I want to see another one of these. Yeah, and things like that. But I thought it was really well done. The story told, while quite long, like I don't know if I would have been able to get through a 4-hour cut of one movie.
Snyderverse did.
yeah, apparently, yeah. Well, now we're used to it, right? So now this comes out now, maybe you're used to it. But I would really like to see a trimmed down one movie version of this. I think that would be fantastic. But overall, I do like pretty much all the cast in it did a really good job. All the acting, all the character establishing, the reason for revenge, and kind of the neat twists and turns he does. Like the whole movie doesn't even end with a big hoopla. It kind of ends at the sitting at a table almost, right? The whole finale. And but I thought that was very good. And I actually watched pretty much one. I think I was telling Rob, I don't know if I can do this, 2 movies in one succession. And the first one after last week's episode, I watched like a good half of it. And then I watched most of the second one, and then I left the second one because I had other things to do right at the point where they're back at Bill's house.
Okay, because there's still like an hour at that point.
Yeah, there's still a bunch to go after that, right? So, and then when I finally watched that last piece, I actually thought it was really good. Like man, David Carradine in his speeches.
Yeah.
I thought overall as a package, it's really good. We'll talk about where it sits in your favorite Tarantino movies and things like that. So yeah, Corey shouts out the RZA soundtrack. Lewis, for some reason, talking about machine guns. No, there's no machine guns in here. We're talking about kung fu here. So let me kick it to Rob and find out how much I believe you were a fan of this movie originally, right? I feel like I wasn't quite appreciating it as much in my younger days because I liked the more modern style of martial arts in movies. But I think now I really see the tribute that he was kind of paying and all the different players in it. So Rob, what are your thoughts on Kill Bill 1 and 2 on the rewatch almost 20 years after its original theatrical debut?
So what's really funny, John, is that I was a huge, and still am, but I remember back in the day, I was a huge Tarantino fan. So I went like...
Yeah, this was my first Tarantino experience originally, the first movie.
Yeah, so I went ballistic for Reservoir Dogs. I fucking drooled all over Pulp Fiction. I told you my story about sitting on a floor at the theater watching it because it was oversold. Yeah. I was a little dismayed a bit by Jackie Brown, and then the trailer for Kill Bill drops, and I was like, oh my God.
So this is the fourth. This is his fourth movie at that time. I hadn't seen any
and
of
it was
movies.
6 years after Jackie Brown comes out that Kill Bill Volume 1 drops. And I loved it. Like, I remember just like reading everything I could about it. I was studying it like crazy. When the second one came out, and like I said, 6 months later, I feel like I've forgotten all of the cool shit I'd ever learned about this movie because life, right? Kids, wife, life. But man, watching it now, and it's been a long time since I've seen them. Oh God, I love these movies. Like, the absurdity of that crazy 88 fight, like with the blood like pouring out, right? And yet under normal circumstances, if you were to watch like a B-level movie and you'd be like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. And yet under Tarantino's eye, you're just like, it is art. Like, it's just so bizarre how one person can make the absurd so amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that you completely, because you understand, like you said, it's an homage. It's a tip of the hat. And it really is. I sent you a text message about when the bride is meeting with is it Pei, right? Master Pei. And I said, like, the grain of the film is like old school, like 36 chambers, Shaolin monk type stuff. Like, it's purposefully made to look old to mimic that feel of those movies. And so there's so much in both of these that are love letters to cinema, because he's a huge, he was like you and I, John. He worked at a video store, for God's sakes. So these are all like love letters.
He was hardcore cinema, right? Into it though. I think I do appreciate all this kind of old style of filmmaking. And even I mentioned it before, the Licorice Pizza that I watched, I think it was all done. I think the term is like chemically on the film or whatever, something like that. So it's not digital or something like. I really appreciate seeing that now, especially such a nerd thing to say. Something that I would make fun of you, Rob, like a year ago about, but I appreciate it now.
Yeah. I mean, like, again, the balls to be able to pull that off and to sell it and to have the audience just completely like be like, yeah, I will go with you on this journey, because it is brutal, right? I mean, it is brutal. There's a lot of it that is very Quentin Tarantino-ish. There's a lot of beats that throughout all of his movies. But in all of them are very much love letters or homages to genres past. But this was this one was vastly different than what we got before that with Jackie Brown, with Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs. And so it was a big chance, I would think, that the studio took to see if audiences would be attracted to this. But in Quentin we trust, right? Man, I love these movies. Like, seeing Uma Thurman, like they beep out her name. Like, during the first movie, they bleep out her name. Like, it's stuff like that. You're like, what? Why would they do that? And then at the second movie, they tell her what her name is, right? And and all the women off her hit list, they all have like she was the Black Mamba, and they had Copperhead and
Yeah.
and everything else like that, right? And
I was gonna grab a bunch of funny snake names and try to pick out our names, but I didn't have time to go through it. But yeah, the attention to those characters and things like that. Yeah, and like that little thing of not revealing her name is such a little thing that I feel like Tarantino and some like lots of other, I guess, directors do it. Like I guess the upper echelon of directors, you could say, do stuff like that, and I feel like it is appreciated later on. Maybe when I was younger, I would be like, "What? Why not? I don't get it." Right?
I and people say that they thought volume 2 wasn't as much fun. There's a lot more dialogue in volume 2 than in volume 1. Like, it's very Tarantino heavy dialogue, as evidenced by that like very long speech that Bill gives, especially when it pertains to like Superman. You can tell like Tarantino's nerding out.
Superman.
But there's a lot of wicked action scenes in number 2. Like that fight with Daryl Hannah, her character's name was Elle, like in the trailer. Like that was crazy. Like even the training scene with Master Pay, right? And being buried alive and and her breaking through. Like, man, I love number 2. I feel like it's tonally different than number 1, but as a whole, it's one complete movie, right? So
yeah. The pacing for 1 does give it quite a different feel that I could see the separation in the two movies. So since you brought it up, let's talk about our kind of go-to question while we warm up and talk about the rest of the characters. Who do you think got it the worst in this movie, Rob? Who do you think died or got it the worst? I've got a list of three deaths that stick out in my mind. So first one is nobody's boy, but the guy Buck at the
Michael
beginning.
Madsen.
No, oh sorry. Who's the guy that owns the truck that gets his head like slammed into?
Yeah. He's the orderly from the.
Maybe it's not Buck. Maybe it's like, I don't remember. It was something with B. I wrote it down, but I don't have my notebook here. For some reason I wrote it on paper.
Yeah, he is the orderly at the hospital.
Yeah. So that guy 100% deserved it. But that guy that was a pretty hard hitting death. There's one of the crazy 88 guys who literally gets chopped in half. Everybody else gets, like a limb, sometimes gets stabbed, but there's one guy or gal, you can't really tell, that gets literally sliced in half, which is a ridiculous, very anime thing.
Oh, you were right. They're saying that that guy's name was Buck.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
The other guy's name is Buddy, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And then the worst, I think, was the character that you mentioned before, the Daryl Hannah's character, Elle or whatever, who gets her second eye poked out and just goes crazy. Are we to assume that she died because they pan over and they show like the poisonous snake just still chilling about? So I guess the idea is that basically she's eventually going to get bit by that snake.
I would imagine so, because first of all, she's blind as fuck. So she's like, Do
you have any? Did I nail all the big guys? Do you have any runners up?
Well, listen, man, Lucy Liu having her head sliced. And again, here's the funny thing about that, right? Is that it looks so fake. Like you can see she's wearing a piece on top of her head because all of a sudden her forehead's like up to here. Yeah. But it's done purposefully. It's done to mimic what they did back in the 70s and 60s with their special effects stuff, right? Yeah. So I mean, I
didn't appreciate that fight. I feel like I didn't appreciate that fight back in the day because I was used to the big boss final battle where they fight for, the Jean-Claude Van Damme versus Dolph Lundgren or like the two big guys or big enemies facing off for like a 5 to 10 minute kind of like never ending 3-round bout or whatever. So to have that happen back then, I didn't appreciate it. But for this one, it's very measured, right? When they pan out and she's got the sword, Lucy Liu, and that snow is just kind of falling. Like what a great shot that was. Yeah, like that was a cool shot.
Gorgeous looking. Yeah. So I thought Lucy Liu got it pretty bad. Vivica A. Fox, I think she was Copperhead. She, cool fight scene, but a knife to the chest, whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of like a quick death, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's somebody else I thought that got it really bad, and I can't remember who the hell it was. Man, I can't think of what it was. Anyways, yeah, I think that, there's a lot of wicked. Like, listen, most of those crazy 88s got fucked pretty bad. it really, really badly. So, overall, it just, yeah, man, and it was really funny how I saw that one guy go. She was spanking him with that sword. This is what you get for
he
playing
definitely
with
looked
the
like a
Yakuza.
child.
Run home to your mother.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's still a great scene. So let's since we're talking about scenes, everybody, if you guys have got your favorite scene in the comments, drop that. We've already talked about the crazy 88 scene. I definitely think that I don't know if you can top that if you had to pick just one scene from this movie to watch. The amount of work that must have gone into that fight. I believe Tarantino said he choreographed that himself.
Yeah.
So that's impressive alone. Do you have a runner up, or do you have any other kind of like scenes you want to rattle off? I actually really like that final scene of her fighting David Carradine Bill.
Yep.
And then she does the five whatever of death, and he
exploding heart.
Yeah. And then and then he stands up, fixes his suit and everything. He's like, "How do I look?" And she's like, "I look great." And then he turns around and walks a couple steps and just drops on his face. I thought that was a great scene. But do you have what are some of your favorite scenes, Rob?
Well, I got really excited to see Sonny Chiba show up, right? As the sushi guy, and him and the other dude like arguing over who's going to get the sake and whatnot. Like they're just right, like an old married couple just bit it, I always get it. No, you do it. I'm the boss, and it was just hilarious. And then when she's like, "I'm here to get a Hanzo, to see Hanzo," and all of a sudden you could hear the guy drop he drops the cup. He's like, "Oh shit!" Right? Like that whole interaction with Sonny Chiba was phenomenal, right? And I did like that whole speech about Superman, talking about Superman and what Spider-Man put on a mask.
It's a whack take on Superman, but I think that's supposed to be like what Bill is about, right? Because I saw there was some controversy on the internet, and there were people like, Tarantino doesn't get Superman. I'm like, that's not him saying that. That's his character in the movie,
right? Yeah,
saying that Superman looks down on humans and thinks this because this Bill guy is whacked in the head and thinks he's like a god, right?
Yeah.
But any of the speeches by David Carradine, man, I love that Kung Fu: The Legend Continues show just because he would give these crazy speeches. I know it's a trash show. I'm pretty sure if I go back and find it, which I'm gonna go dig up my old VHSs, which I probably recorded every episode on. But whenever he's giving a speech, you just listen because he's so great at it. Yeah. Any other scenes before we jump to the comments, Rob? You want to go through the comments and hope someone
go through the comments.
Yeah. So Jonathan Yo says the Lucy Liu fight. Yeah, that artistic look, like the pan out. Like I've never nerded out. Like cinematography, I think is the next step of me starting to appreciate movies more. Now Rob's got me appreciating story and character and dialogue and all that stuff instead of bang bang boom boom, right? So the zoom out of her just holding the sword and them taking their time to kind of set up for each move. I feel like it almost turned into black and white. I don't know if anyone's going to mention the anime scene, so let's go through the comments and see if anyone brings that up. But yeah, so the Lucy Liu fight, definitely, I think that's probably in the top 3 scenes. I think a lot of them might be from the first movie. I don't know. The Rocky like montage, so the whole training sequences. I think Sarah might have mentioned this earlier. Yeah, him kind of like playing with the Fu Manchu.
Yeah, it was really funny. He's holding his beard, right?
Yeah, he's always just doing it. Yeah. And then Lewis mentioned earlier with the Cantonese and the Mandarin, kind of like playing around with the language and stuff like that. Did you know that Tarantino was originally supposed to play the part of that master?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, apparently in one of his interviews that I listened to, he trained for it and was getting ready for it and stuff, but he said he was too busy being behind the camera, and he's like, I have Gordon Liu right here, so why don't I just do him, make him in here and let him use his real voice, because originally they're going to dub it over like an old kung fu movie. But I'm very glad they didn't, because that is a really great training sequence, and of course the 1-inch punch pays off later on in the story.
Well, that was so great. He's like, you shouldn't be your fist shouldn't be afraid of the wood should be afraid of your fist.
Yeah,
right. And he's like, she's like, when am I ever going to need to punch somebody that's 3 inches from me? And he's like, berating her, right? Like,
Oh,
yeah, it was
I
just,
forgot what his answer to that was. It was a great answer to it.
yeah,
Yeah. So shout outs more to the Lucy Lucy. Yeah, the water. I
yeah,
forgot what that thing's called. That fountain thing. I remember there was a couple of restaurants when Japanese restaurants started getting big over here at first. A bunch of restaurants would have that thing in their front foyer. You'd be like,
yeah,
man,
yeah,
that's gonna drive me nuts after a while. This one, Ellie whistling a Wicked
yeah.
Nerve.
Yeah, remember she's in the hospital and she's
Yeah.
whistling that thing. And you're like,
She
ugh.
changes into the nurse outfit with
Yeah,
an alternate eye patch that had
that's
like
right. Yeah,
the X on it. Very anime cosplay there, but it was a great look for her. So yeah, Lewis shouts out the restaurant stuff. I think he means the entire crazy 88 scene
with Charlie
and
Brown.
stuff like that. Yeah. To Charlie, yeah, you look like Charlie Brown. Oh my god, those guys deserved it.
And here's
Those guys were dicks.
another Tarantino staple, right?
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson. I completely forgot he was Rufus in the. I think his name was Rufus or whatever. He was in the. Yeah, he was the guy at the chapel, right?
He was like the piano player, yeah. Which
Yeah.
also shouts out to Gordon. He says that the sheriff evaluating the wedding scene. He pulls up in this truck with like a whole line of like sunglasses on it, and then he just kind of like looking around, and then he discovers that she's alive still. Like, what a crazy scene. Yeah. So Jonathan Yo says the anime part. What did you think of the anime, Rob? I know you're not a big anime guy, but what did you feel about a kind of anime scene dropped in the middle of this movie?
Well, I remember watching, going, "Whoa!" And I remember thinking, "Holy shit, this goes on a long time." But it fit into the movie because of what the movie was doing. Again, as a love letter, every Hong Kong or martial arts movie that has come before it. If he's hitting all those genre points, of course he's going to hit the anime genre as well, right? And I thought it was great. I thought it was a great way of telling the backstory of Lucy Liu's character. It was, and they did it once, and that was it. It wasn't something that they kept going back to the well for. So I thought it was fine. Yeah.
I thought maybe it was going to make a callback in the second movie, and it'd be a good way to flash back and show characters in their younger days. But we'll see. Maybe there'll be a Kill Bill 3.
They've always talked about it. They've always talked about it, but I don't think it'll ever happen.
Whatever her name is. Yeah. So let's see. Let me see. Oh yeah. So Sarah shuts out the scene where she's covered in dirt after she digs herself out of her own grave and comes into the diner, and she's just covered head to toe in this mud and blood. And she actually keeps that on during that fight later with the Ellie character. Yeah, and I'm like, what it's so funny because when she does the double kick to her right through the door, all you see is like these dirty, muddy feet hit this character. And apparently that whoever the person who did the stunt was, they got kicked. I think she broke her back when she and then it's like a whole story where she went to a doctor and was like, when did you break your back? She's like, I never did. She's like, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, and then she's like, I know exactly when that happened. When I got kicked into this thing. Because shout out to these stunt performers who kind of just keep
Zoe
going.
Bell.
Zoe Bell. But I did hear that Uma Thurman did a lot of her own stuff. Anything where she's holding the sword and things like that. Because you see her face. You can kind of see that it's going on.
Dude, I almost forgot about one of the most important scenes in Volume 2. And you actually posted it on your Facebook today, I think it was, or yesterday, when Uma Thurman finds out that she's pregnant. Yeah. And is it Karen?
Karen Kim, yeah.
Yeah, Karen Kim comes to kill her.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm a surgeon with a from this angle, I'm a surgeon with a shotgun.
I was like, do you know what you're doing or something like that? From this, the way she says it is so cool. Yeah. I don't know who this performer is. But the cool thing is that this character is sent by another character called Lisa Wong or something like that, who is like, I guess, a rival of Bill's or something. So there's like a whole world that's unexplored. Yeah. So maybe we'll see if it comes to fruition. Okay, so I think we've covered almost all the kind of key scenes. Do you have a favorite character from the movie, Rob? Is it the bride? Is it Uma Thurman? Or do you want to shout out some of the other characters?
I know it's the easiest way to select it, but I think her whole entire arc. The problem is that a lot of the other characters, you don't get to spend a lot of time with them. Yeah. Right? Like,
what about out of the bad guys? Who's your favorite from the, like her kill list or the henchmen or something like that? I'll throw out one.
I liked, is it Lucy Liu's bodyguard.
Oh, Go-Go. Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to shout out Go-Go, who was a big deal back in the day because she had the whole, schoolgirl outfit.
Yeah.
And I think she was on a whole bunch of like kind of Korean TV shows beforehand.
Yeah, she was really
Comes
funny
on.
when she was like she played like you've seen this in like in TV shows where something happens and she like covers her mouth and she like giggles
Yeah.
and you're like, what? Like a little schoolgirl, you're like, what the hell? And then she drops that ball and you're like, what?
Yeah. So yeah, this kind of like ball on a chain thing.
Right.
I used to train with a bunch of people who would do the chain whip,
Okay.
and that stuff is so scary because you can't do it at half speed. You can't do it slowly. You have to go full out every time. So these guys are like whipping her around their neck like she does, and kind of like spinning, and it's kind of like going up their legs and bouncing off, and then they'll put it on the ground and they'll kind of like butt hop over it. Like the stuff that you can do with that is crazy. So that for them to include that character, and that character gets a board with a nail like shoved into the side of her head. So
legs, yeah.
Poor girl. Supposedly she had a twin character that Tarantino might incorporate later on or something like that. There's supposed to be two characters, kind of like interacting together, but I guess they didn't have the time or the budget to add it on. I definitely would shout out David Carradine. Great performance every time he's talking. You just want more. If there was an Audible kind of like mod where I could just have David Carradine reading me books, it'd be great.
Well, he passed away, right?
Yeah.
He's is it 2013, I think, or something like that. So found his body is it Taiwan? I think it was. Auto asphyxiation. I think.
Yeah, semi-shady. Who knows? We won't know exactly what happened there, but yeah.
He hung himself while popping one off, John. That's what was happening.
Well, we'll never know. I wasn't there. Neither were you, or were you? Anyways, yeah, Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan was notorious for doing a lot of stuff with the ropes and and stuff like that. Let me think. Okay, so I think we've covered our characters' favorite moments.
So let me ask you, John. Like, are you happy that you went back and revisited this movie? Like, is this?
Yeah, I'm glad I watched this. I do really enjoy Quentin Tarantino movies, so maybe we should start that discussion now. Is this like so? Don't give away your list because I feel like we can do a Tarantino episode later on. But
I think
it's Kill Bill 1 and 2. Let's treat them as one movie.
Yep.
Because when you hear Tarantino talk about his 10 film list, Kill Bill 1 and 2 are combined into one. That's why he has one left.
Yeah.
In the clip. Would it be in your top 3 Tarantino movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Easily. Wow. You just like also you're just like, yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I have to rewatch the second one more time. Because when it sinks in more, these movies, I tend to like them more. But I don't think it makes my top 3. I think there's a lot of other good stuff.
See, I'm gonna have to double. I have to rethink it. I almost feel like I've got to watch all of his movies again. I know for me, like Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction are like so close for me.
I feel like you have no room. You have Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, probably automatic top 3 for you.
Yeah, I do. So
you guys in the comments, let us know if Kill Bill 1 and 2 is in your top 3. And then you have the brand new Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is a phenomenal film. You have Inglourious Bastards. You have the Hateful Eight. Jackie Brown. Michelle, shout out Jackie Brown. I think it was an underappreciated movie. I think it made the least in the box office.
Yeah.
But a lot of people say it's one of his best films. But
well, you know what though, because that was not a movie that he wrote. That was based on an Elmore Leonard novel, and so I think that might have been part of the problem is that he didn't write that movie.
Oh, so it's kind of like an adaptation.
I will say that Death Proof. Is probably my least favorite, even though it's got one of the most realistic, gruesome car accident scenes that I've ever seen. I think because it was part of that, and actually that's the one movie he himself says like he kind of wishes it wasn't part of his catalog because I
believe it's not even really a full movie because it was originally intended as a double feature. I think you get Planet Terror and Death or whatever movie. So
it's Planet Terror from Robert Rodriguez and Death Proof. But it is an hour and 20 minutes, I think, or an hour and a half.
Yeah. I actually fired it up after I watched this because I was in the mood for more Tarantino stuff, and it's cool, but not quite as I guess it's more of his love letter to slasher horror there's one scene where Kurt Russell is just eating this plate of nachos, and
Right.
I'm like, I don't know if Tarantino told him to eat it this way, but they look delicious. I don't know if that's just the way that Kurt Russell eats nachos, but I was like, man, I really want to get a plate of nachos with cheese and all that kind of stuff on
So
it.
really quickly before we jump, The Hateful Eight was also with Kurt
Yeah.
Russell. And if you, I don't know, did you ever watch that movie? Which is like
Hateful
much like
Eight. I think I fired it up, but I don't quite like the theming of it, so I'll have to get back to it. Django is on the list,
Django
right?
Unchained. That's right.
Like
Yeah.
I feel like you have no room to squeeze Kill
Yeah.
Bill in there, right?
But during the Hateful Eight, there was there's a scene where Kurt Russell's character picks up this guitar and he smashes it.
Mhm.
And that was a guitar that was actually a priceless guitar that was loaned out by a local museum, and
He
it was
smashed the
supposed to
shit out of
smash
it.
guitar, but they had a prop replica made, and they were supposed to cut the scene, and they were going to swap out the
Mhm.
guitars. And instead, he picks it up and he smashes it. And in that scene, Jennifer Jason Leigh, she goes no like that, like she kind of breaks
Yeah.
character because he smashes it. And they it was actually it was like a 200-year-old guitar.
What an unfortunate mistake. I feel like that should not have been even included. Did that need to be that authentic? They should have lent it to them to make a replica. Yeah. So from the Gibson factory themselves. So it was probably some crazy rare guitar. So that's unfortunate. I hope someone maybe reconstructed it.
No, it's
One of those like restoration car shows or something like that. Maybe the guy from Toy Story came in and redid it.
Nope.
Okay. All right, we're running out of time, so let's keep it moving. So maybe stay tuned for a Quentin Tarantino episode, Rob. I think we have to do it. I don't think we can talk any more about that, folks.
No, I agree.
Whether it's in your top 3 or not, folks, save that, tuck it away, and I think we're gonna have to do a Quentin Tarantino-a-thon or something like that. Rob, would you rather see a single cut of this Kill Bill movie, because Tarantino's got a lot of things in the hopper, or would you rather see a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 3.5 hour cut, which he claims that he kind of has in his bank somewhere?
Well, the thing is, I've already seen, like, if he was to take Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 and make it into one bloody affair, which is apparently a cut that does exist, it has been screened in places in certain cinemas, but I've already seen it broken up. I've never
seen all the pieces.
Right. Yeah. I've never seen a 3.5 hour cut of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so I would probably pick that one.
Yeah. Okay. One more question, folks. In the vein of this Kill Bill, and then we'll wrap up Kill Bill for now. So thanks everybody for sticking with us. Kill Bill, the ultimate revenge flick, or do you give it to The Crow?
Ooh. Well, listen, they almost both literally come back from the dead, right? Well, one does for sure. The other one is buried and left for dead, and she comes back. Oh God, I think I have to go with The Crow as the ultimate revenge. That's tough, man. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like Kill Bill. She gets like a more definitive revenge on a lot of different players that have wronged her. Whereas The Crow, kind of the ending kind of wraps up maybe a little quicker than I guess a revenge fantasy would want. Like, Gord, Gord, always The Crow. I knew it. I threw that question in there for you, Gord. Michelle says the extra cut of Hollywood is just more shots of feet, which is, if you watch Death Proof, you're like, this is getting out of control.
My understanding is that he had released, though, like that 4-hour cut, but like as 1-hour vignettes or whatever on HBO or something. I've never seen it though. I don't know if that actually existed.
Maybe we'll have to check that out. But if he's got that 3.5 hour cut, like I mentioned in the links below, you can get the book and check out the audio book, which is like a longer version of that movie, where he added parts after he had finished that movie. So in theory, I guess it should be a better piece of art, but who knows?
I just want to quickly, Gord had put this on here before.
Yeah.
Dawn was Quentin's best movie. So he starred in that, and he helped kind of write it, but he never directed. That was a Robert Rodriguez movie, I believe, is what he, but that wasn't, unfortunately, his, just much like, he wrote true romance. He wrote Natural Born Killers.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I was gonna say like
stuff.
true romance. Do you start adding that in the mix now too? Like I don't know. I've seen that one. But yeah, Gord's still pleading his case for the crow. Yes, crow does come back on. Sometimes the power of the crow brings you back to set the wrong things right.
It can't rain all the time.
Yeah, the whole speech. Actually, that speech is pretty good if you're talking about revenge,
Yeah.
or someone coming back from the grave to set things right. And then he goes away after, so he's like a spirit. So I don't know. I think this is maybe a tougher debate than maybe I had anticipated. But Rob, I don't think we have anything left to say about Kill Bill. Well, I feel like we do, but we don't have time for it.
We don't have the time.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for talking about Kill Bill. If it's in your top list, keep it on your list, and we're going to revisit this at one point. So, Rob, do we want to talk about what's going on next week before we keep everybody too long?
Yeah, the month of May is an interesting month. We got a lot of new releases coming out, John, in theaters, and we're going to be diving into some of our favorite movies of the, where we get some new sequels coming out. But you know what? Today, John saw the release of Matt Reeves' The Batman on HBO Max in the US and on Crave Canada here as well. You can purchase it, like I did, on iTunes. And so we figured, hey, what the hell? Much like we did with No Time to Die. No, sorry, No Way Home.
We did not do with No Time to Die. Get the
No Way Home. we're gonna watch The Batman, and we haven't had an opportunity. We did the first time we did it with No Way Home. Everybody saw it, and we've never really had an opportunity to talk about new movies with all of you. So we thought we'd do it again with The Batman, since it has just dropped on your streaming service of choice, or Crave. In Canada. So yes, next week, 8:15 p.m. Live here on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, we are going to discuss The Batman. And so what your thoughts are, did you like it? Did you not? What are some cool things that you've noticed? There's a lot of people are finding a lot of hidden references happening now that they're able to be at home and pause it and looking at stuff. So you can go online and see a whole bunch of cool shit. So a lot of it's being confirmed by Matt Reeves himself now that it's out for home consumption. So next week it's The Batman, and I'm actually pretty stoked. I saw it twice in the theaters, John. Like I said, I bought my digital copy today, so I'm definitely gonna be watching that, and the 8 hours of bonus footage and everything else. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to rewatch. I didn't get the rewatch in, so I'm definitely really looking forward. And some of you, it will be your first time watching, I guess, because maybe you didn't go catch it in the theaters or didn't feel comfortable in the theaters. So, or maybe you were just waiting for it to pop up on digital. Like I feel like it's pretty fast. Was it the 45 days or less?
Yeah.
So that's a crazy deal. Let us know if you appreciate that deal that they struck with Paramount. I know some people aren't happy about it. I think it's still playing in theaters right now. So if you do want to go catch it in theaters before next week's show, you can still do that. And I'm sure that theater is going to be pretty empty because everyone's going to be too busy watching Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, and Lewis makes a good point. He's not sure if he wants to buy it right now or just watch it on Crave. Listen, I'm an idiot. I bought it. I probably could have just watched it on Crave. It is coming out on physical release in a few weeks, middle of May. I'm dumb. I just decided to buy it for my iTunes library. But Crave has confirmed it is going to be it's in 4K, so you can stream it through there. And Michelle, how do you know there's no bad dance? How do you know?
Maybe it's in the after credits.
Maybe.
Or
maybe while he punches people, his feet shuffle a little bit.
Anyways, so folks, go watch it. Take notes, your favorite scenes. We always do that. Kind of your favorite characters. And take notes of how you would rank Robert Pattinson in your pantheon of Batmans. Does he go to the top? Is he somewhere in the middle? Is he, right above Adam West and below Michael Keaton? Who knows?
Right.
What's your fancy?
He'll be better than George Clooney.
Some people, Pat really love George Clooney as Batman. But I don't know about that.
Cool. So I'm looking forward to watching it.
We would love it if you joined us, Michelle.
Yes.
So if that is incentive for you to give this movie a try, but we understand if you don't and want to just join us for the laughs. The Batman, and then we're gonna follow that with a bunch of fun stuff later on in the month. I think we go to, or is the month over? Is the month over by then?
Next week will be the last. Yeah, we've got. Just that we are going to be doing a revisit of a certain Benedict Cumberbatch MCU movie as well, John. We're going back to 1986 in the next few weeks and checking out Maverick and Iceman. So that will be on our list to do as well.
You guys are dangerous. that was almost like a Christopher Walken doing. You guys are dangerous.
All right, man.
Anyways, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. As always, it's always a blast.
Thanks, everybody.
And hopefully you dug that. And hopefully you had fun with the Kill Bill rewatch. And hopefully you will join us for the Batman. So we are, again, live every Monday, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Rob, any parting words?
Nope.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. I'm here to help you out, buddy.